World Horse Welfare was involved in the most high-profile horse cruelty case in recent years. Field Officer Nick White was one of the first people on the scene.
I don't think anyone knows how anybody could treat horses in this way.
Over 100 horses were found in terrible conditions.
I honestly thought when I got there that it was just two little barns and the fields. And I walked around those two little barns, there were dead horses in them, dead horses in the fields. I thought that was it. It wasn't until we got to the yard that the enormity of it. Well, it was, the enormity of it hit me. There were dead horses on the ground in front of me. To the right, I looked across, there was a dead horse amongst the stalls. Dog barking, police officers everywhere, the persistent rain and the darkness. It's like working into another world, really.
Some of the horses arrived into the care of World Horse Welfare's Rescue and Rehabilitation Centre at Hall Farm in Norfolk. They included Wilma, who was painfully thin and covered in lice.
I think it's fair to say that if the particular batch of horses that were received here hadn't come to the centre, been correctly evaluated and treated by us, there is a good chance that two or more of them would have died potentially.
Sadly, Wilma was also found to be suffering from strangles and salmonella poisoning.
It soon became apparent that several of these horses were potentially suffering from strangles, which is a bacterial respiratory infection of horses, which again with debilitated or immunocompromised horses can prove extremely serious.
World Horse Welfare receives no government funding and relies totally on the kindness of donors to support the work of the dedicated teams that care for these abused horses.
The biggest strain it has on our resources at our centres when we have a multiple case come in really is the effect it has on the time. It takes an awful long time to look after the horses in the isolation unit. It does mean us going down there 3 times a day, and it does mean us treating each horse as an individual. So the girls have to wear overalls for each individual horse that they go into, but more importantly than that, when they've actually treated the horse or been in the stable with it, they do have to come out and decontaminate themselves and the equipment that they've used.
After months of professional care and monitoring by the charity's staff and vets, the horses are given the all clear to be turned out into a field for the first time.
I think personally seeing the horses turned out into the paddock for the first time is one of the best parts of my job. From seeing them how they arrived to how they were when we turned them out into the paddock is amazing. They came off the lorry quite frightened, quite bewildered with what was going on with them, and obviously in quite poor bodily condition, to then seeing them fit and healthy, being able to be turned out and do what comes naturally to a horse, which is have a run around, kick up their heels, and obviously then sort of settle down and graze naturally.
Once rehabilitated, the horses are offered to new, suitable homes through the rehoming programme. Wilma's transformation was complete when she was rehomed as a ridden horse. The coordinated work needed to rehabilitate these horses is only possible through the gifts left to World Horse Welfare in the wills of our supporters. This is why I've left a lasting gift in my will to World Horse Welfare in the form of a financial bequest, which will continue to fund the amazing work that they do, both now and in the future. By registering my horses in the Will Gifting Scheme, I'm able to make financial provision for their care, take away any worry from family and friends as to their welfare, but most of all, know that my horses, unlike so many others, have a safe and secure future under the protection of the charity. If you love your horses, please consider leaving a lasting legacy to World Horse Welfare. Ada Cole once said, "If all the horses in the world could cry aloud with one voice, it would stir the world to do something about it. We must be their voice."